Yep, I'm ready.
Unmuted. What is up? What is up? All right. Hello, hello. Yep. Hello, welcome. What is up? Welcome to episode 348 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we are back on somewhat of a schedule. It is Monday, so of course that means Yikes of the week, as well as a little VCT playoff preview chatter, just to catch everyone up before we head into the playoffs before Berlin. Other than that, of course, we have some e-news. But before we get to any of it, let me tell you about Alt Esports. They are the sponsor of the show, if you didn't know. And they are also the best esports apparel that you can buy. You go to altesports.com and you can pick yourself up a plethora of items, including some officially partnered skateboarding shoes with DC. Very stylish, by the way. Also, you can pick up their summer line with their mesh shorts and tie-dye shorts. You can get even a matching tie-dye hoodie. So when it gets into that perfect fall weather, hoodie short weather, best of all time, everyone knows it. You can look fresh doing so. Do all of that at altesports.com.
Hey, it's Kenias, and you are listening to Centering.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Coming to you live, or episode 348, coming to you live, and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, August 9th, 2021. The time, 9:08 p.m. Central. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring and join our Discord. Be a part of the conversation there. And everything else that you got to do. My name is Tim. I will be your captain for this journey into esports. And alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
VCT, baby. Right around the corner. Right around the corner. It's kind of what we need right now. I'm like excited today. Like just a big event kind of lined up.
Just what we needed.
Counter-Strike's a little slow at the moment with the player break.
Just what we needed to care about Valorant again. It's like
you know we're gonna get this rush of adrenaline here with this champs, and then like all the Counter-Strike kind of kicking back off,
right?
And then it's gonna go into a lull for a little bit again.
Well, it's setting it up perfectly to get all the hype going, and then the holidays start. And then it's just,
exactly,
it's dead season again. You know, we have like that summer break, which is miserable, and now we're hitting the end of that. So enjoy it while it lasts, because yes, even though we are about to have a handful of months of pure hype on esports, the holidays are right around the corner. I don't want to be a bummer, Anuj, because you know what we forgot to mention last week, with it being our first episode of August. We started this last year. August is Positivity Month.
Oh, yeah.
So, for those who don't know, we started this last year where in the month of August, we try to at least put a positive twist on anything negative. The reason is because, and this is fact, August is the worst month of the year. Like, hands down. It's hot. There are
really
no holidays whatsoever. Me and Anuj personally are coming off of June, which is like celebration month for us for multiple occasions. And so we just try to keep it positive because school starts back up for a lot of people in August. It's just not a good month. No one's like, thank God it's August.
Especially Blizzard.
I don't know if Blizzard is thanking God for much of anything.
What is the positive take we're about to go here with as we go down Yikes here? This is going to be a little tough.
Job openings. Ever wanted to be upper tier management at Blizzard? I hear they're going to have some job openings soon. Positive twist. Positive twist on that one. So no, it is positivity month. So everyone be positive. Positive vibes only. So there's that. I will also quick shout out just for something new that we're going to start doing as well. If you are following us on Twitter and or YouTube, you would have noticed I posted a Big Dick Play, a BDP highlight, commentated by yours truly. I'm going to try to start doing that more and more in free time. So, we have listeners who submit BDPs all the time on Discord and DMs and whatever. And it's always nice, we check them out. Sometimes we don't have a chance to highlight it the way it deserves. But I'm going to start commentating over your BDPs. So if you get a sick play, whether it be a single kill, but it's badass, a badass sniper, double kill, you ace around, whatever you do in League of Legends.
Around, yeah. I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you do, drop it in our Discord in the BDP highlights section, or hit us up on Twitter, DMs, or whatever, right? It doesn't matter how you get it to us. Just get it to us, and we will tweet it out. We'll highlight it so you can check it out at the center ring. I did one earlier so you can get a vibe for it. So there's that.
I was impressed, Tim. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
I know how you feel about editing, and I was proud of you.
I despise it. I despise video. I am an audio guy through and through, okay? I am I'm holding on that one day radio will come back. Like when satellites or something kill TV. So, but I'm learning. I'm learning video editing. So, what I assume takes me like maximum effort and like Googling out the ass how to do like a simple pause take. I'm sure like some like senior in high school is just running laps around me when it comes to their video editing skills. So, especially nowadays, with like how kids nowadays just content create. That's just what they do.
It's like something they do for fun.
Right. Like I remember in high school, I did Photoshop, I did that and stuff like that. But video editing, like we had VHS tapes that we would hook up to capture our Halo clips. That's what we used as a capture card, was a VHS tape that we recorded us playing Halo.
All one take.
Right. There was no, it was just, look, I got 30 minutes of recording and this is it. Like this, I cannot splice the VHS tape. Sorry, not going that far. But no, so it's fun for me. It's fun for the listener. Get a shout out by the #1 esports podcast for your big dick plays. What more could you ask for? So hit us up on Discord and all that. And I'm gonna go through and do some of the ones that people have already submitted. So just keep an eye out for that. All right. So there's that. Nuge, let's get into some yikes of the week, though, if you don't mind, because we have a handful to get to.
Tell me if this sounds familiar, Tim. Project M. Ring a bell?
It's
kind of, sort of. It's kind of similar to anything that you've heard of in the past.
It's not. What's the fighting game called?
Project R or something.
R. Okay.
Project A was for Valorant before it turned into Valorant as we know it. Well, a new mobile game has come out by a company called NetEase. It's Tencent's biggest competitor, essentially. They've come out with a new mobile game, calling it Project M. Hey, it sounded...
I know what Project M sounds... That's a Super Smash Brothers mod. I'm like, I knew that was something. Okay. It is a super... So that is an actual thing, but...
So they've copied two things, then, is what you're telling me.
Right, yeah.
So they're coming with a new mobile game. This game, Tim, exact replica of Valorant. I mean, when I say exact, I'm talking about from the agents to their abilities. They've tweaked the names a little bit, maybe given them, in some cases, like more obvious names of what the ability is, which is kind of nice. But in general, it is the exact same game. And I'm shocked, like, we know there's copycats out there. That's not the shocking thing. Like, you see it all the time in video games. But to like the level, it's like somebody took a paper and like changed like threw commas in random places and assumed that you've just changed the whole paper. Like you've no longer copyrighted it. And it's incredible because it does look exactly the same. By the way. It's mobile. But I believe Valorant is also going to have a mobile game. So I expect to see a lawsuit here. It was just funny to see the video come out for it because I thought I was looking at Valorant's mobile game.
Chinese developers have no shame.
They don't
Like
care.
it to like an impressive point. Like
Yeah.
to the point where it's like everyone working on this Project M mobile Valorant ripoff, they know exactly, like, they didn't have to do any character design. They didn't have to do anything. It's just a straight copy and paste, like you said. So it's like zero shame involved here.
None whatsoever.
But you know what? It's hard to feel bad about anything against Tencent because they also rip people off left and right. So
No, for sure. It's just to the level, like I said, it's just impressive to how much of it, like to a T, the game is copied. You don't, you don't think you're going to go up against the big boys like that because you're probably going to lose in this case. Tencent can do it because who's coming after them?
right, they're the
It's a
big dogs.
little different.
Speaking of winning or losing, and also a little bit of a copy paste job themselves, X Defiant, which is the worst name I've established. That is the worst name for a game of all time.
Besides
Wormhole
Wars?
Portal Wars, yeah, like that. But they changed, so we're not going to hold them to that. They realized it, changed it to Splitgate. We won't hold X Defiant, which tagline when they first introduced it, remind you, was a mix between punk rock and tactical shooting.
That's exactly what I'm looking for in a video game.
Buckle up. right. Like they put
And mind you, Tim and I already called this game a failure before it's even launched.
correct.
Okay, so like
we're not just dogpiling it now. Look, we've established we're trendsetters. Okay, we mention something, it becomes popular 2 years later. We've established this. So X Defiant, which named their game like they were an early 2000 energy drink, revealed 6 minutes of exclusive gameplay on YouTube, Anuj. It did not go over well. Which is saying something.
How bad did this go?
I mean, it got more downvotes than upvotes, which,
That's
I mean,
never a good thing.
it's never, and it's like, I feel like video games get a lot of slack, too. Like, the hype normally, at least at intro, does well.
Yeah, because like most of this is not even real gameplay, so you're picking like the cool and best things to kind of show off in these videos. Like Battlefield, perfect example, right? Like Battlefield, I don't even know what the hell the game looks like, but I know from all the trailers that I've seen, I really want to play it. This does not make you feel that way.
So it's not a good look. If you can't even get out the gate with like just the benefit of the doubt hype, it's just not going to go well.
I mean, again, just looking at the gameplay, it doesn't look appealing. Like it looks like I'm playing a. You know what? This is part of it. I feel like I'm looking at a mobile game on PC. That's just kind of the vibes I get looking at character models, the way the animations are, the shooting. I mean, mechanics are real basic and shieldy. It looks like it just doesn't look like an appealing game.
No, that's pretty much perfect example. It does look like a mobile game, which it might even also be on mobile, so it might just be like a port 1-for-1. But it just, I said this when they first revealed it. I don't think anyone was looking for another class-based shooter like this, especially when they were billing it as, oh, this is a mix between Rainbow Six and Division with some Assassin's Creed gameplay. Like everyone, I know in our heads, we're just imagining this Mona Lisa of a game. Like, oh my God, if you take all the best qualities of Tom Clancy's games, this is going to be amazing. Like the open world Splinter Cell-esque game, like hell yeah, sign me up. And then they gave you
They gave you COVID instead. Like you
a
literally
5-on-5.
got something nobody asked for, nobody wanted. It's gonna be an uphill battle for those guys over there. And look, they're the ones that sold it high. Okay, as you mentioned, they listed off like 3 or 4 epic games that, oh, this is a combination of all of this stuff, and then this is what you deliver. Like, what did you think was going to happen? You were better off not saying anything and just saying, hey, we have a free-to-play game coming. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. It probably would have been more well-received.
Yeah, we worked on something on the side, just as a little thank you. Here's a free-to-play shooter. Check it out.
This is a game made by our interns for y'all to have fun with. It probably would have done well.
Considering it probably used, like, it's probably made up of 75% recycled things they didn't use in other games. It probably is. You're not wrong. So there's that. And of course, as we mentioned, it's going to be our weekly update for the Blizzard situation. So here's your timeout.
Timeout. We need to put a positive take on that because I felt like we left that really negative.
Okay.
And
Fair enough.
so the positive take is it is, I believe, a free to play game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have some time, you can always try it out. And if you provide them with feedback, they might make the game better. So there's that. If you were hoping for this to be a good game and you were disappointed in what you saw, well, it's free to play. Go play it, give them your constructive criticism, and hopefully the game becomes better over time.
Very good positive take. Very good. All right, so for our Blizzard, our weekly Blizzard Yikes of the week, Anuj, some updates here. Francis Townsend steps down from Activision Blizzard's Women's Network. Now, you're thinking, oh, good, they stepped down. Timeout. They're still with the company. They just stepped down from their like little employee group within the corporate world. So I don't
like still an executive, still getting the paycheck, just stepping down from being an active member within the
right,
company.
like he was like in charge of like the bowling club at Blizzard and decides to step down essentially. So I don't know. Great, I guess. It literally does nothing. And also though on the Overwatch League and CDL side, but more heavily on the Overwatch League at the moment, sponsors are dropping. I think we mentioned last time that Coca-Cola and State Farm, it's kind of weird. Like I think it's all they're dropping their sponsorship, but obviously
T-Mobile last time.
T-Mobile.
That's what we talked about.
That's right.
And now State Farm and Coca-Cola are also withdrawing their partnerships with the leagues. And
yeah, it's all within like contract though. So like you still might see, I think, Coca-Cola advertising, but it's like they're definitely renegotiating, if not pulling out.
Coca-Cola said they're taking a step back, and State Farm is withdrawn altogether, I believe.
Okay.
So, and this is really where it's going to hurt because, you're losing money for leagues that are already hurting. Right now,
Right.
CDL might obviously be doing better than Overwatch League. At least that's what we've all been led to believe. But again, without homestands and lands, like I don't know where the money is necessarily coming in from other than sponsorships right now. So to lose sponsorships and still be in an offline world and not be able to generate money from events and other things, like I just I don't see how we could spin this into any sort of positivity because this is pretty devastating for what it's doing to the esports side for Activision Blizzard. And I don't think this is like to me this was them being able to use this new like sexual harassment to possibly even withdraw from like Overwatch League, right? Maybe they didn't want to leave CDL necessarily, but you have to make like a statement when you're doing this, especially during these times. But like for part of me also thinks like, man, I bet some of these probably wanted out of these Overwatch League contracts that they were in, seeing the state of the game currently. So it's kind of a double whammy for Overwatch League. For CDL, it just hurts because you're in the middle of growth. You're talking about expansion, and now you're losing your biggest sponsors. So I just don't know how you can find any good in it.
I think that there is some truth to what you were saying, where it was like they probably looked at it as like a nice way out of what was probably not a great deal, right? Like I'm sure $1 billion companies like Coca-Cola are doing their research and realizing like, hey, even though I did hear like that was a pretty friendly deal for Coca-Cola, like it was like Overwatch League was pretty much losing money on that sponsorship deal from what I heard. So maybe not, but
that's why Coke said they're taking a step back and not withdrawing.
Right. But I do think it's not good when you are already a struggling league when it comes to the latest seasons, right? Seasons 3 and the current season and all that. Because seasons 1 and 2 were hyped, let's be real. But Overwatch in general is struggling. The game is struggling. The image of it, the pro side, the developmental side, all of it is struggling all around. It's just the perfect storm right now that you don't want to be in if you're an Overwatch fan in general.
So, look, and not only are they losing sponsors, they're also losing their content creators. So the other half of your free marketing is now disappearing, right? And so like just from World of Warcraft alone, I wrote some of these down because the names are just so big for like if you're in the WoW community, these are names that have been around for 10, 15 years now, that have been creating content for you. Asmon, Preach, Mad Season, Spots, Bellular, like these guys are so big within the content creation side, and they've completely stopped. And again, not necessarily because of the sexual harassment in those guys' cases. It was also more to do with the state of the game, but they're getting hit from every single angle possible right now.
Yeah, and like I just think it's one of those things where the sexual harassment, like we were saying with the Overwatch League sponsors or the content creators, it might not be like the one end all be all, but it was definitely like the straw that broke the camel back for I think a lot of people that made it easier to be like, you know what? I don't necessarily have to be like loyal to you guys at this point anymore. You're not the same Blizzard. Like we said
Everybody was at a
1,000 times.
tipping point for a long
Right.
time, right? And this is just what pushed everyone over the edge.
Now, with that being said, I also love the people on Twitter puffing out their chests saying, see, I told you guys Overwatch League was a failure. Blizzard, blah, 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 right? Overwatch League sucks. I don't think, again, if there wasn't the sexual harassment stuff, I think none of them would have lost sponsorship. I think all of them would have stayed with the leagues out of good faith and just relationship-wise. So I don't, like they're all acting like Overwatch League is losing sponsorships just because Overwatch League sucks. Overwatch League has sucked now for a season and a half. So
yeah, I mean, Overwatch League still would have been in a bad state regardless of this or not. You wouldn't have lost the sponsors,
No.
but you still would have been trying to dig yourself out of the hole that you put yourself into.
But that was there long before the sexual harassment stuff.
Yeah, like the sexual harassment again.
The people who are still watching Overwatch League are not going like, oh, I am no longer watching this, because the people who are watching,
they didn't play comp for one day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they boycotted it for one day. Message sent. Last thing here, as you mentioned, the people who have backed out of just content creator, but also, and I don't know if this is necessarily sexual assault related, but it is rumored, Nuge, that Overwatch 2 might be delayed. It's not official. There were some leaks of the development plan going on, and it looks like it is pretty far behind rumors that I've seen. Again, nothing confirmed or official, saying 2023 for Overwatch 2.
It really, like, again, we have so many friends in this scene, so like it kind of kills me to constantly bash on Overwatch and Overwatch League in general, because I do like a lot of the people associated with it, that have put in the time, the effort. But that being said, if this got delayed till 2023, it's a wrap. This is dead. This esport is not going to survive another year and a half with the current state that it's in. It is impossible. I am telling you right now, it is impossible for them to survive a year and a half and then think that Overwatch 2 is going to revive your game. Like, that needs to be a 2021 Christmas release. Like, that's really the dire, like the desperation that this game is in right now. It is not in a good place. Your players are leaving. You're only able to build a fan base outside of the US for the most part, right? Like you're not growing the game any over here. Like the teams over here are all now Korean based teams, and you're just not seeing it grow in any way, shape, or form outside of Korea, it feels like. And even there, it'll become stale eventually. And so I'm just shocked to even see that rumor come out, because in my mind, I really thought, like, man, they're gonna hit us with the surprise release. Like, this has been going so bad that it's got to be around the corner.
Well, and again, too, it's like we've played the demo, we've seen what they're talking about. They're not reinventing the wheel.
Unless they are trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Like maybe what we saw, what was the first thing we said when we came out of there? Just feels like a newer, fresher Overwatch.
And let me say this too, because again, this was all leaked from, like, I think data mining or information, right? So Blizzard might come out and give it an explanation, and we might turn around and say, oh, okay, this makes sense. Because I don't know when the idea of making it 5v5 instead of 6v6 came into play. Maybe they made that decision doing playtesting and then realized, oh, you know what? These maps do not work for 5v5. We need to tweak them all. And so they might be starting, more or less from the ground up, which if that's the case, okay, but you have
No,
to
but
come out and
not
say
even
it.
okay in that situation. If you're switching it to 5v5 and then you realize everything was designed for 6v6, that's stupidity on your part. Like, that's not okay. Like, you have to delay it because the game is going to suck if you release it, not because, hey, we're really doing things to make the game better. No, you're fixing mistakes that you created. So we don't know what it is. It's all speculation. It's kind of getting me a little like amped up just talking about it. But I really believe if Overwatch 2 does not come out end of this year, beginning of next year, like first quarter or two, I just
Yeah.
don't know how the game
I
survives.
just
I
feel like a
can't
lot of the
believe that it
people who
would.
are sounding the alarm, like, a lot of people who are sounding the alarm or poking fun at being delayed are the ones who aren't going to play it regardless. The game could come out tomorrow, and a lot of the people who are saying that it's going to suck wouldn't play it regardless. So if you have
But
to,
you gotta keep the ones that you have there is a problem, right?
right,
And how
of
long are
course.
people gonna wait around that are
Well,
actively
and
playing
that's
this
where I'm
game right
saying
now?
there's look, the train has gone off the rails at multiple locations throughout this whole thing. First off, their lack of updates, right? Ever since Jeff left, the developmental updates on Overwatch, whether it be 1 or 2, are just gone, absent, which they used to be like so regular. It was just like there's the
We used to be able to do segments on Overwatch League updates or Overwatch updates because
right.
there were so many,
So it's just the communication, and obviously with everything going on right now, I don't think their priority is Overwatch 2 updates, but that's neither here nor there. So
It doesn't feel like the priority is video games.
nor should it, though. Let's be real. Nor
No,
should it.
in general,
Unless it's going to be a good game, as we've established. So there's that. Positive twist, though. We're going to have more time to play other video games.
Positive twist is I'm saving $13 a month on my WoW sub.
Yeah, because New World doesn't even have a sub. We're going to be playing some Battlefield when that comes out. So, boom.
Hey, rest in peace. My WoW sub is done in 3 days.
Boom. I think mine is done. Oh, on the 12th. I think both of ours ends on the same day, funny enough. So, there you go. All right, Anud. Let's get into some deep discussion as we get into the Champions Tour North America Stage 3 Challengers Playoff Preview, also known as VCT Stage 3. So we have it where these winners are going to go to Berlin, and then that winner will then go to champs, and then we'll break it down further in future episodes, but it's all based off of points after that. So the big thing here, though, is this gets you into Berlin, which is, for those who aren't keeping track at home, Iceland 2.0. So this is the second big major of Valorant.
Yeah, like the next LAN event for them, and some differences, some key differences here. 3 teams are advancing from EU and NA, where it was 2 last time around, and I think that's a pretty huge change and a much needed one because these regions just have so many more teams at a high level competing that I think it is only fair, and you see that in other games that
Right.
it is region
Yeah.
based. So I do like that they're doing that. Yeah, I mean a lot on the line for a lot of teams looking into this particular stage because we're bringing back some old storylines. Thinking of TSM, we had the 100 Thieves and Envy collapse last go around at this point in the tournament where they both dropped out, much earlier than anticipated and didn't get a chance to compete in Iceland. And then we have Sentinel sitting there at the top, and it's like, are they just going to continue their reign of dominance, which I believe they will at this point in time. Like, it just seems like everybody else is making changes to catch up to them. So until that happens, it's hard to believe otherwise. But there is a lot on the line right now for a lot of these teams because, as we've talked about, Tim, if you don't make it into the stage finals and then ultimately you don't qualify for champs, or I'm calling it champs, whatever it's called at the end of the year.
It's champions.
What are you doing for the next 5 months, right? So
I'm gonna tell you what you're doing for the next 5 months, Anuj. You are skipping heartbeats every time your phone rings, assuming it's your org about to let you go, because there is nothing after this. And there's talks of like, oh, well, we need more TOs with community ran events and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, and we've said it, it's the one downside to the Riot's VCT schedule is it allows for very little wiggle room. Because let's be real, Valorant has been a huge success since it started their esports journey. But once VCT started, it's really kind of slowed down as far as like it was VCT or bust. Like that's really all we've talked about. Early on you had some of those other tournaments going, but
You had all the teams hosting their own
right,
events. You had Nerd Street throwing like events throughout that were not just like VCT or First Strike at the time related. And that was a lot of fun because it was a little chaotic. It kind of gave you the CS vibes of like a tournament every weekend or every other weekend at the very least. But yeah, like this has um not only slowed it down a lot, but it's also prevented me from like getting to know the players the way I was kind of learning what was going early on, right? Like early on, again, there were just so many events. I started to learn about the players. You saw little stories as they talked about them and interviewed them, and just it just felt I was more involved. Now, as we're
right.
going, I know like the big teams, and I'm kind of learning about these new guys on the block only if they make it to this point in the event.
Yeah, I mean, not to be like a negative Nancy, and I don't want to say I care less about the early rounds because I don't, but you're absolutely right. It's kind of like, look, these VCT, it's almost like Call of Duty League, where it's like this is a long season, and like you mentioned, I love me some version 1, right? But it's like as soon as I noticed they were struggling and didn't make it, it's like instantly they just leave my brain, you know?
Yeah, unlike you, I don't care that much about the early rounds. I really don't. Like there's just so many teams involved, so much happening. I expect there to be I enjoy seeing the upsets, but I don't like I also expect them. Like there's just so many games and so many rounds leading up to this point that there's going to be really good teams that don't make it here. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad team. Unfortunately, that team is probably going to end up making roster moves, and you might lose the chemistry, or your favorite player might not be there anymore. And that's just the nature of the beast right now with Valorant. Like you have so much riding on these events, and that's what kind of leads us into this moment here, and why we're talking about the preview is we know there's a lot of pressure on these teams, and maybe we should just kind of get into some of the not necessarily matchups because it's we have the first round set, but I'm more curious about what you're expecting to see, Tim, from some of these teams. Like any team in particular you're really either rooting for that we don't know about, or a storyline that's kind of caught your eye heading into the playoff preview.
So I have a few things that I want to point out looking at the NA side of the event here. First and foremost, Sentinels, because I feel like you can go two walks of life here. You either are going to have it's human nature to be a competitive and want to win, and you're going to see them compete because they're the number one in the world and that's all they know how to do. Or you're going to see them take the other path, and it's human nature to know that, hey, we've already made it to the final round. Like we are in champs, and if it turns out like they gotta bust their ass to compete in this event, I don't see it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see an early upset if you're against Sentinels because of that, right? It's like mentally how much can they hype themselves up when they know they're in champs already?
Yeah, I mean,
Like I said, they're number one in the
I
world.
think with the lack of events, they're going to be hyped. Like you still want to make it to Berlin because that's your only other chance to play on stage, put your face out there a little
Yeah,
bit,
and,
get
and
all that
money's money, right?
exposure.
There's
Like,
still a prize
well,
pool.
also look how much exposure Sentinels got. Like everybody knew Sentinels was really good, but you didn't really know Sentinels, right? Until you knew Tens, that name stood out.
Hmm.
But then you go to Iceland, and all of a sudden there's like features happening on individual players. They were getting so much like glory from the fan base, the commentators, as they were kind of sweeping through that. They had to enjoy that feel. They haven't felt that in a year and a half, throughout this whole COVID drought. So I feel like they're here to prove a point of, look, we are the best team. Y'all can fight for these other spots, but guess what? One of these three spots to Berlin, we're still taking it. We're still giving ourselves a chance to go back and repeat and not let one of you guarantee your way into the champ slot. Like they don't care what I believe they don't care that, hey, let's get somebody else in NA has a chance to like take a spot and kind of set, like they don't care about that. They want to win. They're playing to win. I fully expect them to play 110% in this event, knowing like, hey, eyes are on us. We're number one. Like we have a mark on our back. Look at Astralis. The amazing thing about a team like Astralis, the longevity, like how long they were able to do it.
Hmm.
Well, with Sentinels, it feels like that right now because of the short life of the game. They've been dominant since day one. And I think you want to keep that reputation, and it kind of puts that fear factor in other teams. So I'm hoping we get the best version of Sentinels in this event.
The other team that I'm kind of highlighting off the bat is going to be our local team with Team Envy. I think the most recent roster change out of all these teams on the NA side, picking up EA. I am interested because we obviously are not going to have matches to preview with this new roster until this event, right? So I am interested because EA, first off, I like the pickup. I do like the pickup, but it does intrigue me because Ye is he on the CS side. If you're looking at his history with CS, kind of right there towards the tail end, his stock picked up. Right, he had a good with complexity, if I'm not mistaken, before they kind of blew up and went more EU. He had an okay outing, right? Kind of one of those fringe players on CS where I felt like he maybe could have hit that top tier, but never really quite played at a consistent enough level. So then we see him make over the move to Valorant, and we kind of saw the same thing. Not bad, right? But also just not like that top tier Yay that we saw for a short window in CS. So I like the pickup for Envy. I'm a fan of that roster. I love FNS still as a in-game leader. I still think he's one of the best. Crashies, I still think is going to perform. Yay, I do like the roster pickup. I question, though, if it's a too fast turnaround for like realistic expectations.
So that would be my only kicker is the timing of the move. I think Ye as an addition to them is an amazing pickup. I think he's going to do great on that team. They're going to be replacing Mummy. He'll be taking his spot. I think he'll fit in really well, and he fits a role that they need. So I really like the pickup. I'm nervous about the timing of the pickup. We're talking about a week before playoffs start, and now you have to integrate him into the lineup. He's got to learn your call outs, which might be slightly different play styles. I'm assuming he's going to be playing characters that he's already very comfortable with. That's why you would get him. But you're not going into this, you're already in a tough spot because you play TSM first round. This is kind of the rebound for TSM. This is Wardell looking like Wardell of the first stages of Valorant, like looking really, really sharp. TSM is kind of in the rebound mode, had a little bit of time to practice. So tough first matchup. But let's just say you get past that. Then you're running into Sentinels in upper semifinals. And to think that you're going to have to win that with 1 week of practice against the best team in the world, like I just think that's highly unlikely. So now you're going to have to do it through lower bracket, which puts you in a win or go home type situation. So a little nervous for Envy because I just don't know how well integrated into the team that he can be at this point. And I also think TSM is rebounding nicely and will give them some problems. So I think that'll be a really tough first round matchup for them.
Yeah, and you are right. They that first round matchup between Envy and TSM, I think, are definitely like mark that one on your calendars. The other one, first off, too, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, we are an esports podcast, and it is Positivity Month, so I should always be positive and love all things esports. If you had to pick one match, though, to maybe go spend some time with your family, Exit and Luminosity. Boom.
Only by name, though, because people are still unfamiliar. Like Luminosity's done 40 roster changes,
Right.
and continues to find their way into top placings, right? So yeah, I just don't think they've built like the fan base because they've made so many roster swaps. Xhead, on the other hand, has won some really big matchups. They've done really well. I think they're the only team to beat Sentinels as of late. They've looked really good, so that's an exciting team. And this is one of your opportunities to get to learn a little bit about some of these teams that you're not seeing consistently, right? So although, yeah, the names aren't necessarily there with that matchup, the quality of play is going to be, and that's going to be a very difficult out for whoever they play in that part of the bracket, which would be, again, two other question mark teams in my mind right now with FaZe Clan and 100 Thieves. Like FaZe Clan, question marks for all the obvious reasons, right? We've seen them do really good. We've also seen them do really poor. They've lost Marved, so I don't have as much faith in them as I did when they kind of made that random run out of nowhere, and I forgot when that run came. I think it was also stage 2 playoffs or whatever it was. Anyways, they looked good for a brief period of time there. I think it's gonna be hard to replicate, but 100 Thieves, the team that I know you and I both really like. I mean, from
Right.
a roster standpoint, there's not a lot there not to like, but yet I don't feel like we've seen like peak play from them yet.
No, it's funny.
And
I feel like both FaZe and 100 Thieves, this is why that matchup, I think, is one of the other highlights of the first round in upper brackets for NA, because both of these teams, I feel like, are playing to prove something right now. Like you said, FaZe has kind of had that hype, but also if you're just on FaZe, I think the expectations are high. But with 100 Thieves, on paper, this should be the best roster in the world. Like, I would not be, like, you could convince me that this should be the number one team in the world on paper that 100 Thieves has. So yeah, I think that they are playing, not only to prove to everyone else that, but I also want to see some consistency out of 100 Thieves.
I mean, 100 Thieves is the only team with like tier 1 Counter-Strike players on it. Every other team is, for the most part, a mix of tier 1.5 and tier 2, right? If we're going to break it down that closely. They are the only team with what, 4 tier 1 CS:GO pros on there with Hiko, Steel, Ethan, and Nitro. Like
We're giving
it's
Steel
not even
tier 1.
close.
We're giving Steel tier 1.
Man, Glory Day Steel for sure. As of recent, tier 1.5. Okay, so we'll throw him a notch down, but his team still did pretty good. He actually got a lot of his teams pretty far in tier 1 Counter Strike. Just
Okay,
kept having
fair
to get
enough.
booted.
Fair enough.
So I would say yes, actually. So, but really, like the only team that has legitimate superstar power coming from another game. Everybody else was trying to still prove themselves to a certain extent, and they found to be the most inconsistent team of the group to me. Like they almost forgot that clutch factor that they've kind of always had, that gene that's always been in them, hasn't really translated over to this game as easily. And so I think this would be a huge, huge disappointment for 100 Thieves not to make top 3 at this stage of the event. You have the easier bracket for sure when just looking at the lineup and making it to final 3. Like it's not even close compared to the other side with Sentinels, Envy, and TSM all grouped together there. You have to beat
Right.
FaZe, Xset, Luminosity, like a combination of those teams, although difficult, should be more than manageable. So
Yeah, because
I think 100 Thieves
realistically,
has the most pressure for that reason.
everyone's starting out in upper brackets. You realistically need 2 wins to make Berlin. Because with 3 going, if you make upper bracket finals, it doesn't matter.
You're in.
You've made it. Doesn't matter if you lose out in losers after that point. You're in. You're top 3. So you just need 2 wins. And yes, I agree. The bottom of the bracket with 100 Thieves, FaZe Clan, Exit, and Luminosity sets it up beautifully for 100 Thieves to just capitalize on it. You don't even need to win, I feel like, here to prove it anything.
You just got to get in.
Just qualify. Just make the
Yep.
dance. That's all you need to do if you're 100 Thieves, and I think that you've put yourself in a good situation.
Everybody else has got a little bit of a built-in excuse, right? Envy with the recent roster change, TSM being on the rebound. So if they were to bounce out now, people would be like, well, look how far they at least made it this time compared to last time. Sentinels with them already qualifying for the final championship, as you mentioned earlier, like could be I don't think so, but could be a factor in this. So 100 Thieves is the only team that really does not have an excuse to not play at their best right now. Everybody else is dealing with mental issues or team changes. So for them, they have to figure it out. This is really important, to make it past this this initial grouping, because it's not going to get any easier if they fall into lowers. Like it's not like they're going to be playing bad teams at that point. You're going to be running into an Envy or a TSM at some point. Like it's going to be very difficult to do.
So this all kicks off August 11th, so just in a couple days from this recording on Wednesday of this week.
And that's a jam-packed day of games, guys. Like that's you have your 4 upper quarterfinals, and then your 2 semifinal matchups will also take place that same day. So that's going to be starting like pretty early in the afternoon,
I did
and
not
it'll
know
carry
that.
on till about like 7, 8 o'clock. Will be the start time of the last game Central Time. So it is a lot of matches. It's gonna be 6 matches that first day. So that'll be a lot of fun.
I'm looking at the times right now. You're right. Whew. That's a lot of Valorant in one day, man. See, pick your poison, right? You either get a lot of tournaments that maybe you don't care enough about, or you get these VCT ones where the early on you don't care, but man, the end is hype, right? Like everything means so much towards the end for these teams. So very excited to see which ones can qualify for Berlin. Would you like to make predictions?
Yeah.
Just
Let's
top
go.
three.
Just go with our top three.
Yeah, top three.
So I'm gonna take Sentinels,
Okay, me too. Obviously.
100 Thieves.
Okay, yeah. Me,
I do think they
me
push
too.
through. This is where I'm so freaking torn, and I'm gonna take TSM to make it through.
That's where I differ. I pick Envy because
I want to
made
pick Envy.
TSM rotten hell for what they did to my best friend Drone.
I am so nervous for the timing of the Raw. I think Envy is the better team, but I think if they lose that first round matchup, it's just you got to make a run, and you're going to be playing again. It just doesn't get easier falling
Right.
into lower. So I'm nervous with the timing of their roster change. I
My
wish
thing
they had
is
done this like 3 weeks
I
ago.
felt like Envy was the better team before the roster change, right? And so I don't think adding Ye, the addition of Ye, hurts them in any way when it comes to teams like
they're
TSM.
a better team,
right,
than TSM. I truly believe that. I just don't know if you have built up any sort of chemistry in 1 week of playing. Like they can say, "Hey, we're practicing 30 hours, 40 hours,
right.
this week and getting in a bunch of time."
But
I
in a
just
live
don't know
game,
if
it's
that's
all
enough.
different. It is all different.
All
So
different. Honestly, and if I were teams and they're asking to scrim right now and you're part of this grouping, I'd be like, "Ah, we're a little busy right now."
internet problems,
Like
man. We got
just a
internet.
little busy right now.
Internet
I look,
problems.
it makes me nervous. I hope Envy is able to make it through. I'm just nervous with the timing of the change. I think ultimately they will be one of the best teams and stay one of the best teams in NA that they are now, but um, odd time to make the change.
And also, I mean, obviously it's been like this for a while now, but just to bring up the point that Breeze is in the map pool. So it's been in the map pool now for a little bit, I think, on the pro scenes, but just to reiterate
We
on the
haven't really
last
seen
point.
events with it in there, so
Right.
it'd be nice to see it added in.
Yep. And just to appease our EU listeners, Anuj, on the EU side, they are getting 4 teams sent over to Berlin. And, I mean, we don't have to break it down team by team because I know I don't know it as well as the NA side, self-admitting it. But do you have any food for thought on that?
I am honestly looking for it while I'm talking to you. There we go. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of the same kind of core things here. I'm going to be looking to see if Liquid can kind of bounce back. They took a little bit of a gut punch here last week, but I think that they are the team to beat looking at this final roster here. G2 is another team. I look at them like TSM, right? A team that was so hot early on, the beloved team. Now G2 has done essentially a full roster swap outside of Mixwell, if I'm not mistaken there. And they're sitting in upper quarterfinals. That's going to be fun to see what they're able to do. And really, the only other team I would say I want to keep an eye on that I'm excited to see play would be Ascend. Ascend is sitting in the upper quarterfinals, also with the bye week. If you haven't seen CNED play, he is the tens of EU, and we've talked about his name. We've mentioned his name before, but that's just somebody that I'm excited to see play. And so he'll be playing on the 13th, will be their first matchup. So nice little, I think, an off day for NA on that day. So you'll get a chance to watch some of these. But the core teams that have been good in EU have kind of remained good throughout, except for G2. Like that's really the one team that's gone up and down. But I do think even G2 is in a really good spot. So it's going to be fun. I'm kind of just hoping this time around all the regions kind of get their best teams through. Like we had teams drop off last time. I mean, now we got Vision
I was going to
Strikers
say,
in.
we've already have the Korean teams who qualified, Vision Strikers and F4Q. So they will at least be there. Vision Strikers will be there.
Yeah, and so I mean, and there's several other regions where we didn't get at the time the best team out of it. So that's really what I'm hoping for this time around is we do get all the top teams competing. Not to say I was let down by Iceland at all or any of the teams that represented any of their regions. I just would like to see this happen. We've been waiting a year and a half now for some of these matchups to take place. It would be awesome to realize that at this point.
Yep. And for those wondering why EU gets 4 spots, it's because EU is consisted of Europe, CIS, and Turkey. They're combining those 3 regions. So a lot more teams to divvy up on that one. So there you have it. The VCT Stage 3 playoffs to qualify for Berlin to qualify for champs. So get your flow charts ready. It is a mess to try to keep up with, but that's what we're here for, to try our best to assist you. All right, let's get into some e-news. Before we do that, though, e-news is brought to you by Philly Esports. Good dudes, friends of the show. They host monthly online events, and currently they are doing a plethora of Rocket League, Call of Duty, and Valorant. The second cup for their Rocket League event is Saturday, August 28th, a $2,000 prize pool. $2,000 you could win completely for free. That's right. It's a free sign up. So you get you and 2 of your boys to play and maybe start your pro career right here with Philly Esports. PhillyEsports.net. Also, if Rocket League isn't in your bag, they have a Call of Duty Cold War event, 4v4, Search, Control, and Hardpoint. That is coming up August 14th. So once again, of course, a free sign up, PhillyEsports.net. Okay, so there's that. Let me pull up some e-news here.
I can start us off here.
Yeah, go for it.
Cloud9 is back, Tim. They are back. The major winning core is going to be competing in the ESEA Summer Cup, Cash Cup coming up. So you're going to get to see who is that? I mean, I think it's Automatic, Skadoodle, Stewie, and Tarek or Rush. Who is it?
Well, Tarek is doing it, so it's the core, and I think it's already happened, to be honest with you. Yeah, it already happened. Let me see what spot they got, though, because I was watching it. They were, how do you say, not taking it serious, Anuj, as they got, I think, between 9th and 16th place. But it was Stewie, Tarek, Skadoodle, Grim, and Fang were the 2 to step in. So, I tuned in. I watched it. I don't know what my heart was expecting a lot. My brain was not, and my brain was right. So it was just dudes having fun.
They've all moved over to Valorant.
I don't blame them. Stanislaw is stepping down from the active roster for Evil Geniuses, though. Not permanently, though, as Daps is to take his spot for the up-and-coming ESL Pro League. And you know what? Stanislaw's statement, very straightforward, very honest. I appreciate it. Basically just saying, can't do the international stuff. I need a break. So I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, it's another tough blow for EG.
Well, and that's probably, let's be real. If they were winning, if they were dominating over in EU, do you think he would be taking a break?
No.
So take care of your chickens, right? As they say. But winning is the best cure. And right now, EG was not winning. So he's taking a break, still on the active roster. I guess that's always safe because you don't need to worry about Daps replacing you. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. In Valorant news, Cloud9 is set to sign Vanity from version 1 and use a 6-man roster for now. I doubt that will be a consistent thing just with how rosters are right now in Valorant. I just don't see a team holding on to 6 people.
It makes more sense as this gets further along to have 6 or 7-man rosters because you can truly have specialists for certain maps then. But right now, it does not seem to make a ton of sense to have a 6-man roster.
Yeah. Yeah, like way down the line when there's a ton of maps and a ton of agents, and sure. If they play like that, as we've seen, though, teams now just want you to shoot and kill. Kenny S has been playing a lot of Valorant, tweeting about Valorant.
Dude, he made a sick clutch earlier that he had posted, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh, of course he was using the operator.
Of course.
He was playing Jet so well, and I was just so impressed by... I mean, honestly, I was just so impressed watching him. I was like, shit, you've been playing a decent amount. Like, this is not once or twice playing in some gold matches here. Like, you were playing some very high-level Valorant, so... Curious to see if that's in his future. I know we keep doing this, like it feels like I'm doing an eye emoji every time we talk about this, but everybody that we've kind of discussed has eventually made that switch because it made sense. And this
maybe
kind
they're
of
just
makes
listeners
sense
of the
too.
show and they hear us and they're like, damn, you know what? Tim and Anuj are right. Maybe I should move on. Don't blame him.
This would not surprise me in the least if he, if he wants to make the switch, he's going to find a team.
Yeah. And him and who's the other guy? NBK?
Yeah.
Little French reunion. I could see it.
And I can already see NBK in his DMs right now.
1,000%.
This is what NBK does.
Who's
Like, he
Kenny
sets
S
up
playing
teams.
with? He's probably playing with an NBK burner account off the mic or something like that. Like, give me a break. You know they're playing together. In Call of Duty news, several players have been tested positive with COVID from the most recent LAN here in Arlington. So,
Which is actually probably from the party that all these guys attended.
True.
At the LAN. And the big news here is Scump and Envoy, both from Optic, tested positive. Zinni, like, what's his in-game name? From Toronto that got benched.
Mm-hmm.
He also tested positive. There's a handful of players that did. Tim, I have a feeling, and as the rumors are starting to swirl, this is going to be an online event, isn't it?
I don't see how you're a player, and if you want it to be offline, this was the last thing you needed to do right now. Like, yeah. And you know what, Scump, I know you're like, everyone loves you, but you're an idiot for being like, we took all the precautions and we still got it. We were extra safe. Being extra safe and taking all the precautions is not attending an after party. Like,
and all the players, right? Like that, it just probably wasn't a smart move, right? I get it. They're young. They haven't been to a LAN in a long time. All your boys are there. Like, you want to see people, but we're like a couple weeks away from like the biggest event possibly in CDL history.
And we don't,
if it has to go online, that would be a little devastating.
It would, especially when we just saw Dallas being offline and how well it like played, right? The hype behind it. So if I were these teams, man, I would be so irritated at these guys and you know what? I guess I shouldn't be like so hard on them because it's not like they wanted COVID, right? I hate blaming people for getting COVID because it really is. It's like kind of shit luck, right? But at the same time, if I were these team owners, I'd be a little annoyed, rightfully so. Like, just guys, come on. You have a couple more weeks left of the season. Just go back to your hotel rooms and chill, right?
Yeah. Get COVID after the season.
Yeah, get COVID after all you want. But right now in the season, right before champs, Optic is ticking upwards, right? They're trending up. And the thing is, like, you just don't know how COVID... I mean, we've had personal friends with COVID. Some are like, I had the sniffles. I was okay. Others, hospital for weeks, right? It just knocks you on your ass. So who knows? Obviously, you hope everyone's okay regardless of your opinion on the situation. But, damn. Talk about timing.
It would just be a blow. Like, it would just be a big blow.
Yep. And also rumor that Clayster might be joining back to the starting roster of NY SL.
I mean, CDL kind of leaked it a little bit, it felt like, with their
hype video
picture release. Yeah, they had a picture of Clayster with the team there, so it was a little interesting. Obviously, we hope he's back. It wouldn't feel right if Clayster wasn't there and playing. Hopefully, his mental state is where it needs to be, but we need Clay back. Like, this would be good all the way around if he was back. So,
and if it's offline, right? Clayster offline. What's better than that? In other FPS news, Due to travel restrictions, the Pittsburgh Knights will not be able to attend the Rainbow Six Major in Mexico. They are based out of Australia. They are based out of Australia, the country, despite their names. So it's already starting again, Anuj. We got players getting COVID. We got teams not able to travel because of COVID restrictions. It's happening again.
It's already here. We have a local hospital here in Dallas that has a tent set up outside because they don't have enough rooms now for patients. Like, it's back. It's here. If you're not vaccinated, go get your shot. This is not a political statement. Just, like, help out. Everybody needs to do it at this point.
At the least, wear your masks. Again, wash your hands.
It's going to be mandated again here pretty soon anyway.
Which I never stopped doing it, so it's not a big deal. But the masks were, like, the least intrusive thing. That's the least of my worries. So just, but we're back. If I can just be selfish for a second about esports, it sucks.
Yeah, like we were so close.
Yeah, we were right there.
We were so close.
Right there.
We got like one LAN event in every major esport.
And we couldn't even go to them. We had like 3 of them here, and every weekend there was a LAN event in Dallas. It was like family was in town. Back to back. Your family was in town one weekend. My family was in town the next weekend, and then a birthday. It's like, damn it! Let me just go and watch video games. We missed our window.
We did.
We missed our window. All right, so there's that, and another other FPS news. Hamza retires from professional Halo. Odd timing, but
odd timing.
Does he not know? Does he know that there's another game coming out? Has someone told him?
I would go as far to say as this is bad timing. Like not even odd timing. Like this just seems like bad timing.
Did he not get in the tech preview? Like, does he not know the game's right around the corner? Like, bud, wait a couple months. What are you doing?
I get it. He said he no longer has the passion to play. I was like, well, you've been playing the same game for 6 years. Give it a minute. You know, and it might.
Come on, man.
Be back.
Like, this might have been a too soon announcement for retirement. I'm just saying. Give it time. Give it time. In MOBA news, Riot Games have canceled the LCS championships at the Prudential Center amid, obviously, COVID concerns like we were just mentioning. So sold out event meant to reunite LCS teams with fans will now be relocated to California without the crowds.
That's why I think CDL is about to make a very similar announcement. Maybe they still
was California going to have
event, but like
were Champs going to have crowds?
Positive, huh?
Was Champs going to have crowds?
Good question. It was in LA, right?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right,
Probably wouldn't have had him there anyway.
I think LA and California is still pretty strict on that. Also, I went out shopping this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday with my wife. Husband of the year right here. Stores were starting to do capacity rules again. Yeah,
we saw that. We were at North Park this weekend also, and it was capacity limits in a lot of the places.
Right back, like it never left. All right, in other FGC news here, so we have Evo going on, Evo Online, I should say, going on this weekend and next weekend. If you've watched it lately, first off, man, I miss fighting games. And talk about games that just do not translate well online. Like, it's fun to watch, but bro, like when I was watching Summit, at the Smash Summit, bro, I was jumping off my couch. I was popping off with Mango because you just feel that energy when they're in person. When you're watching a fighting tournament online and they're not next to each other and they don't even have the player cams, dare I say, boring.
Yeah,
like,
I feel that.
First off, though, the fighting was great, but the way they're doing it, so it's this weekend and next weekend, and it's like you're skipping pools because they've done them already. So it's like you only get like the top 8 or top 4 pending on it, and it's all split up between regions. So like Latin America, EU East, which is like Russia and EU and China and Asian and NA and all this, right? It's a bunch of different regions. So it's nice because it's like all day, every day of the weekend, you're just watching top 8 and top 4s in fighting games, which is awesome. But at the same time, you're watching some people who would never stand a chance in a top 8 because they're like top 8 Latin America, you know? So not really getting that vibe of like at Evo, you were like, oh, you are the best in the world at this game, right? You're not getting that same vibe, but still Beggars can't be choosers. Positive twist. Still awesome, though. Mortal Kombat, my favorite game of choice when it comes to FGC. Had some awesome fights in it. Guilty Gear Strive at EVO, first year it being there. Leffen ended up beating the EU, taking first place in the EU division. Only reason I bring this up is because I'm not a Leffen fanboy, but when it comes to him playing other fighting games, I love seeing him win because the FGC hates it when Smash Bros go into their games and are better than them. They hate it. The FGC community despises Super Smash Brothers. They hate it. And the fact that Leffen ended up taking first in EU, I wish this was worldwide just so you really had an idea where he would fall into the ladder. I still think he would be high up there because, I mean, he's obviously good enough. But just awesome. Awesome. He went on, streamed right afterwards, talked his trash, and mentioned that the event was not ran that smoothly. Go figure, online and all that. But either way, if you missed some of it, don't worry, because next weekend we get to watch it. Also, we get to watch NA finals for Mortal Kombat Saturday night, I believe. So I'll be watching that. In other news here, though, FaZe and Optic are expected to do a collab happening soon, confirmed by FaZe Banks.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, they don't need to do one together.
No, like it just feels wrong. Feels like the Yankees and Red Sox doing a collab on a jersey or something. I don't know.
I don't really.
Something feels wrong about that. Maybe I have to see it and I can become a believer of the product, but
listen,
it feels wrong.
Teams can act chummy on Twitter. That's fine, right? The Twitter people can meme together and it's fine. But I agree. I don't need my teams collabing with each other.
No, not these two at least.
Yeah, I don't like it. Also just odd too, because it's like, I don't get into it. It's FaZe, whatever. Smash.gg Ultimate 3 Summit nominations, Anuj, are not going well. This probably almost could have been a Yikes, but our Yikes were already so heavy. So in short, Smash Ultimate Summit was happening or getting hyped up, right? So they're asking people to bot. It's been a disaster, first of all. People botting to get people voted in. They ended up taking down the votes and everything like that. I don't even know what they're doing right now to figure out who's going to go to this event, but it just goes to show you can't have anything nice in the Smash community. So good luck sorting that mess out. So there you have it. There is some e-news for you. And there is episode 248 of the Center Ring Esports podcast for you. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening. Whether you listened to the whole thing or skipped around, love you all the same. Thank you to Alt and Philly Esports for sponsoring the show and being a part of it with us. Go ahead and send your Big Dick Play highlights on our Discord or wherever you want to do it. DMs, however, whatever's easiest for you. You just send us the links and we will highlight them, comment over them, and have some fun with it. So hit that up in our Discord or Twitter at the Center Ring. We will be back Wednesday. Talk some VCT. The first day would have been done by then, or at least a handful of the matches, depending on how late it goes.
A lot of them.
Yeah. So we'll be able to talk about some there, or maybe some upsets, maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see. But that will be Wednesday night. Until then, you keep it sleazy. Stay safe out there. COVID's back, if you haven't heard. So for Nuge, I'm Tim. We'll see ya. Bye. Perfecto. All right. Anyone in chat, love your face. Gonna kill the stream so we can get to editing this and maybe get a game of CS or something. We'll see. We'll see a little something. All right. See you, everyone.
Bye, guys.